Mary Jo represents the Cleveland Police Department, but she was very active and worked on the organization, I believe, and is the chief spokesman for the Sea of Blue support rally, which took place in downtown Cleveland yesterday. Mary Jo, you made national headlines.
We did.
You did. It
We
was
did.
great, wasn't it? Wonderful. Were you expecting such a response?
Originally, no. I was expecting or hoping for 100 to 200 of my friends to show up and show their support, and it just kind of exploded.
Now, how did this get started?
A friend of mine and I were speaking at a bar, coincidentally, about the negativity towards the police department, and we were discussing all the negative protests that have been going on.
Throughout the country or just here?
Throughout the country, but then when the things came up here, we started discussing here. And he challenged me to fix it and to do something about it, and I said, okay, I will. And there you go.
So that Irish Italian personality says, I'm going to take on this challenge, right?
You can't challenge me.
There you go. So how many people showed up, do you think?
I was given a rough estimate yesterday of 4,500 to 5,000.
That was a great turnout.
It was
in
awesome.
a short time.
Yes.
How long did it take to organize it?
5 days.
5 days. Now, what was the purpose of it?
We wanted to show our law enforcement officers that they really do have people standing behind them. There are bad apples in every job. There really are, no matter where you go. But I think there's more good in the police department and in law enforcement than there are bad. And it was just time to show them that we support them. And the media shows that there's people against them, and that's all the media seems to egg on. Yeah.
Don't we all get upset at a policeman, especially myself about a year ago? I'm driving down St. Clair, didn't know that one of my headlights was out. Policeman stopped me. He must have had a bad morning. He gave me a ticket for one headlight. Of course, when I went to the court with the court says, this is ridiculous. So I did. But that poor policeman, I was mad at him that morning. But then again, when you think of all the great things and how that they do, when you have the problems, you call, the first thing you think is, call the police.
Right.
And I think all of us, in moments of, well, like myself, we forget about that.
Right.
But the policemen are there. They incredible job. In my own family, several of my family were in the police department, not anymore, but years ago. The Quinn boys, Pat Quinn was a policeman in the 5th District, and my cousin Mike, or Gerry, he was on the mounted unit, and in fact he was the first treasurer of the retired Irish police. But let's get back to talk about this event. Now, what do you hope to accomplish?
I really hope that
this
this spreads like a sea of blue across the nation. That would be so awesome to just start spreading peace, getting the communities to unite for their law enforcement. And once the communities are behind them, I think it will spread some peace among each community, each city. And once they have support behind them, I think it'll make their jobs a little bit easier. They go out every day and they don't know if they're coming home. Their family doesn't know if they're coming home. As a matter of fact, we had it on Public Square, and friends of mine were there. My friend Don Fanau almost was shot in the face. He was with Mike, his partner Mike. They drove a guy down to Public Square to drop him off. They gave him a ride, and his partner ended up shot in the face. Mm-hmm. And Don almost ended up shot as well at that same spot on Public Square 12 years ago.
We all recall, right after 9/11, policemen and firemen were like gods in this country.
Yes.
Things have changed, and I don't know why it has happened, but definitely the change has taken place. Well, why is that?
For sure, I think it's a lot of it is media driven. If you watch CNN, for example, they are very anti-police. They push it. They push their agenda. They push this anti-police. You see the protests.
But why?
I have no idea. I don't understand it. It perplexes me because there's no reason for it.
I did hear somebody recently say that, we're just talking about the mayor of New York, for instance,
Correct.
that he was a child of the 60s, of the far left 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and that his agenda today is ideological driven. That he goes back to those days when a lot of people, you don't remember it, you're too young, but I do. JC and I remember the 60s when a lot of the people, it was just the rule of the day to hate the police. And I'm not saying that de Blasio is that, I'm not sure he's that way, but it does seem like
It does,
A bit like
yes.
that.
Yes, it does. And I'll never understand it. I don't understand how people can see that someone that goes out every day to work in a community that a lot of them don't even live in. He's going out to help people in it's not like they're making a lot of money, so they're not in it for the money. And it's not a glorified job, so they're not in it for the glory. But yet people hound them and put them down and are anti-police, and I just don't understand it.
I think it's a part of a national agenda. We have a current administration in Washington that isn't necessarily anti-police, but they certainly have done a lot of things that, through my eye, I believe are perhaps designed to disrupt the United States and make some major changes from the left.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's a left-driven agenda? Maybe.
It sure seems that way.
Mm-hmm.
It sure seems that way, and the President of the United States isn't helping either.
But funny thing, police there's Democrats, Republicans, there's independents. The police make up everything.
They do.
There's all different points of view within the police department itself, and within the judiciary and the law, the judiciary, everything. So it's hard to believe that that somebody would be so anti-police.
They're anti-police, and they're making it a white police versus black community, and that's not the case. That's not the case. Bob France spoke yesterday, and he gave the numbers of white officers killed by black people, and it's not. They just need to stop pushing the race issue, because it's not a race issue. And once we learn to come together as a community, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, I think it's going to make a huge difference, and that's what we were trying to do yesterday. I had people that posted on my Facebook page, well, you didn't have a lot of black people at your rally, what's the problem? We had plenty of black people at our rally. Would I have liked to have seen more? Absolutely. But I don't think that they didn't show up because it was a white person running or it was a white rally. I think there's a big racial divide right now, and I think that's starting from the powers that be.
Why do you think we're hearing more about these shootings, like the Brown thing in Ferguson, one in New York? Is it just that there's more attention being focused on it? Was it pretty much the same for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years, or is it just that the news media is focusing more on these shootings?
The news media is for sure focusing more, but I think social media is also part of the problem, because people start throwing things out there, whether they're facts or not, and in 2 seconds it's in social media, and then people just start to believe what they're hearing instead of waiting for the facts. And then when the facts come out, they don't want to believe them because they've been hearing things through other people for so long.
They believe what they want to believe.
Correct.
Well, there's no question about it, the social media. There are certain social media outlets that I think everybody should look at the name on the top of the article before they read, because you know what's coming when you look at the name. And there's certain publications. For instance, if you see the Huffington Post on something, you know it's going to be a left point of view.
Right.
New York Times as well.
Yeah, I don't
We
see
made
much
the
of
New
them
York
on the social media. I don't see a lot of it, but Huffington Post posts a lot,
Yes.
and they are to the left.
Right.
And some of the ones to the right would be the Heritage Foundation. I mean, they wouldn't be anti-police, but I think the Huffington Post generally would go against the police. Would you say?
Right, and I really do think it's social media, it's the media in general that I think they're pushing this agenda. I don't know why they're pushing the agenda, but they really are.
But a lot of the ordinary people believe when they see that thing on the screen on the computer, they believe it
Right.
right away.
Yes, they do.
And then if it fits their own agenda, it's much more believable to them.
Right, and then they'll read an article that fits their agenda, and then they just run with it.
That's it.
And then you've got Al Sharpton and his group and RevCom just pushing the race issue. Like the protesters in Cleveland, a lot of them were paid to come here.
Really?
Yeah, Al Sharpton paid a lot of them to come here, we were told, but they weren't from Cleveland. Why were they even here protesting? And the violent protests, I'll never understand that. We tried to set the example yesterday, and hopefully people run with it.
We're going to be back. Sticker show. Mary Jo Graves is with us this morning. She worked all night and she has to go home and get a little shut-eye. Mary Jo, thank you for coming in.
My
What would
pleasure.
you say to our listeners when you see a policeman? Would it be nice to walk up to him and say thank you for all you do for our community? Wouldn't it be nice?
That would be awesome. They were so touched yesterday by the support that they got. One of the guys came over to me and said that he has never been so overwhelmed with people just coming up and shaking his hand and just saying thank you.
Now, they're not the enemy.
They're not the enemy.
They're our guardian angels, aren't they?
They sure are.
They really take care of us. Well, Mary Jo, thank you for coming in and shedding some light on what's going on in the community
My
and in
pleasure.
the police department, and you're always welcome.
Thank you.
So come on back
Thanks
and
for
see us.
making
And
the
keep
mic
us-
my height.
Keep us up to date on what's going on with this event, how it progresses throughout the country, because I think it will.
I think it will, and hopefully people will go to this Facebook group page and spread this around. Hopefully it'll go to other cities. Like I said, it's already going to D.C. and Tennessee. They've contacted me already.
And the
want help.
T-shirts, again, the T-shirts.
The
to get-
T-shirts you can order online at Luna Team Shop, Luna, lunateamshop.com, or you can go to their store in Berea, 117 Front Street in Berea. After, I think, January 5th, they'll be opening again. And then the money from the T-shirts is going to go to the Northeast Ohio Fallen Officers, or Fallen Heroes Fund, sorry.
Very good. Email just came in from Patricia Lavelle. Please wish Teresa Ryder Kowalski and Maura Kilbane Leffel a happy birthday from the Hibernian Sisters and Brothers. And I think I have another one here. Let's see, we certainly do, from Bill Rice. Bill says, Gerry, could you announce on the program that the New Year's Eve party at the Westside IA Club is sold out? Thanks to all who have shown such great support for this event, and we hope to see you next year. That comes from Bill and Maureen Rice. Here's Alison Krauss, and it's a beautiful song called Who Can Blame You?